Hey YouTube, welcome back to Togi Masters. Today I'm going to show you how to install a oil transmission cooler on a 2011 Tacoma 2.7 liter two-wheel drive. So you're going to need a 10mm socket. We're just going to use that to take off the front grille. And there's also going to be two plastic clips that are holding this on. Just use a flathead screwdriver to remove them on each side. It's holding on to the headlights. Aidan Oil Cooler. It has an internal bypass design that only lets it go through once it's fully warmed up. I've also purchased a extra set of lines shown here. In the box it also includes worm clamps as well as mounting hardware into the radiator, or in my case the AC condenser. First thing we're going to remove here is the horn. It's going to be a 12mm. With the horn removed, we're going to remove these pop clips that are holding the top of the radiator fan shroud. You can just use a flathead to remove these. I would also recommend to loosen up the 12mm bolts that are holding in the radiator to give you additional space behind the AC condenser. There are 4 of them, 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, on each side of the radiator. This will give you a lot more room to work with. I don't show you in this video, but I do recommend to do this. It'll make the job a lot easier. As well as trimming the plastic mounting hardware they provide to you. The ends of those are pretty long and you don't necessarily need that much. It just makes it easier when you're fishing the lines through the AC condenser. Here you can see the plastic mounting hardware that's provided. I pushed it through the transmission cooler, and there are these foam inserts that are placed behind it to space it out from the condenser and prevents it from rubbing against each other. Again, I recommend to trim the ends of these at least halfway through. It just makes it a lot easier to push it through the AC condenser without having to deal with so much extra slack. Alright, now we're just going to line this up in the fins on the AC condenser. Make sure you have enough space for where you would have to connect the lines towards this. Note that I put it slightly behind the middle section of the AC condenser just so I have enough space for the lines to connect to. As you can see, there is a portion where it's really close on the bottom of the inlet of the oil cooler. Alright, so once you have this mocked up, you will have this extra piece, and this just goes through the back portion of the AC condenser, and this will hold your transmission cooler in place. Again, it's easier if you loosen the radiator. Alright, so I had all that mounted up. Now I'm just going to remove the cap and put the bottom hose in. This will be our inlet. You want the fluid to flow up and through the entire cooler instead of having it come in from the top, which could also introduce air bubbles. Alright, once that line is in, we're going to fish it through the hole where the AC is. Make sure to add some extra hose on the edge of this hole. We don't want to have any chafing on the line. Looking down from the top driver's side of the radiator, you're going to see this line on top. This is your oil return line for the transmission. You can see that it's using the radiator coolant to cool down the transmission oil. We're just going to remove this clamp and use the line that we fished through the side and connect it to this line. Note that you're going to have to trim some of the line that we fished through. It might be a little bit too long. In our case, we trimmed it about a foot. Alright, so from under the car you're going to see two lines. It's going to be the one on the inner side on the left. We are going to remove the clamp and pull off the hose, and then add another hose on here and connect it to the top portion of the transmission cooler. Don't forget to tighten down all the worm clamps, as well as add additional fluid for the transmission cooler. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.